Do you want to start a business but have no idea how business really works? Business is more than just a good idea made profitable. It's a system of unspoken rules rarely taught by MBA schools. As a finance student, I can confirm, while we learn a lot of theory, we don't exactly learn how businesses really work. But no worries, today we are going to understand how to grow a business. Welcome to the book summary of the book Business Made Simple by Donald Miller. Before we start, I'd like to mention that this book is actually written in a kinda interesting way. It is basically a 60-day guide, so if you actually want to follow this as a step-by-step guide for 60 days, you might want to purchase the book. I'll leave a link in the description. But let's now start with the point number 1. Leadership made simple. First thing you should do is create a compelling mission statement and guiding principles for your business. For example, for a restaurant, this could be a statement like, "We will be known as the best pizza place in this country within 5 years because people in our community deserve to brag about how high quality pizzas we are selling." There is a formula in the book that you can use for your business. We will accomplish by because of. These statements are good because they inspire action and also have a deadline that creates urgency. The second thing you should do is to define the key characteristics your team needs to develop. They have to be aspirational so people will know how they have to be in order to achieve the goal of the business. They also have to be instructive so people will know how they need to act when the pressure is high. The third thing you should do with your business is to define 3 critical actions that every person in the organization needs to take and that will contribute to their mission. Miller's actions, for example, are get up early, write and say "after you." Because of this, he has to go to bed early, which increases the chances that he will exercise. Wake him up early gives him more time to get writing done because he writes in the morning. And saying "after you" makes sure he does not become a jerk. The fourth thing is to tell a story about where they want to go by using a proven framework. 1. The problem your company helps people overcome. Agitate the problem to make it worse. Position your company as the solution to the problem. Describe the positive ending that people will get if they use your product to resolve their problem. The last thing is to create a why. Why does your business exist? Define the theme of your mission so you and your team know why the work you are doing is important. Productivity made simple. Now it is time to learn how we can manage ourselves and our time to get the most done in the least amount of time. First, you want to start your days with reflection. Every morning ask yourself, what is the thing that you would regret not doing today? Second, prioritize your tasks. Create 2 lists for yourself, one for primary tasks and the other one for secondary tasks. The primary tasks should have 3 tasks that are the most important for you to get done, and you should finish doing all 3 of these before moving on to the secondary tasks. Third, maximize your power hours. Identify the time of the day when you are the most productive. Your brain is like a smartphone battery. While you sleep, it recharges, and while you are awake, it is slowly running out of battery. So do the most important work when your battery is full and focus on secondary tasks later. Learn to say no to distractions so you can say yes to priorities. I personally haven't read the book Hell Yes or No yet, but I really like the title and the idea behind it. Basically, eliminate things that don't make you say hell yes. Lastly, you should block your time to get more done. Time is money. In fact, time is more important than money because time is literally our life. We wouldn't let other people manage the money in our wallets, so why do we let them manage our time? You should block periods of time when you can't be distracted so you can commit to your most important tasks. Business strategy made simple. So how does the business really work? If you know this, you can easily start a business, run a business, sell a business or fix a business. First, you have to understand how a business really works. Miller explains that business is like a plane. In order for a plane to fly, all of the parts need to work together. In business, these parts are overhead, sales, services, marketing, products, and capital and cash flow. The second thing is to keep the overhead as light as possible. Businesses fail because their overhead gets too high for sales to cover. What overhead basically means is all of the costs of doing business that does not relate to product creation, marketing or sales, for example paying rent or having that cool unicorn statue in the break room. Pay attention to how much these overhead costs increase when implementing new strategies and make sure the plane is not too heavy. Third, make and sell the right products. Is there a market for the product and services you are selling and are they profitable? Fourth, prioritize marketing. You should build the marketing plan before even making the product to test demand before making a substantial investment. This has some similarities to the MVP mentioned in the book The Lean Startup, which you can find in the top right corner. The idea here is that before spending huge amounts of money to build your product, you should find out if the product has demand. Then make a step-by-step sales path for your customers. We will talk about sales later, but what you want to do is create a sales path and track where each prospect is at all times. Lastly, you have to protect your capital and cash flow. This is important because if you run out of cash, the business will simply crash. You have to understand things that affect your capital and cash flow, meaning things like profit margins, when will the product start making money, how does one product impact all the other things, and so on. Messaging made simple. Now it is time to learn to clarify your message. All of those projects we are working for won't have any results if we don't learn to clarify the importance of the projects to customers in the marketing message. To clarify your message, you should use the power of the story. There is a simple formula to creating a story. You are the hero watching this video and you want to learn everything about amazing books. But there is a problem. You don't want to spend all your free time reading. Luckily, you have come to the right place and found your guide. The guide will give you a plan that solves your problem. Subscribe now and you will receive a new book summary every week. What happens if you subscribe? You will get a new book summary every week and improve a lot as a person. You will use your knowledge to make the best out of every day. What happens if you don't take action? Well, you will notice that after 2 years you still haven't read any books and are at the same place where you were 2 years ago. Marketing made simple. Now it is time to become a marketing expert. The book teaches a sales funnel, which is one of the simplest and most inexpensive yet effective marketing strategies that you can implement. Building a marketing plan is like having a relationship. There are 3 different things that all relationships move through: curiosity, enlightenment, and commitment. So first you want to create curiosity. For that you have to associate the product with survival, in this case meaning things like saving money, making money, learning more, and so on. Then it is time to enlighten the customers about how your product can help them to survive. And lastly, the customer will commit by placing an order. As with relationships, it will take some time to reach the commitment. After this, you have to know how to write a one-liner that generates sales. The one-liner should include 3 things: a problem, your product as a solution, and the result. A great marketer also knows how to wireframe an effective website that passes the grunt test. This basically means that a great website should take only 5 seconds for a caveman to understand what do you offer, how will it make life better, and what is needed to buy it. After that, it is time to capture email addresses by offering free value. You can see this pretty much everywhere. Enter your email here to download my free PDF on how to become successful at life. Some rules for creating these are: 1. Make it short, 2. Give it a cover, and 3. Make it solve a specific problem. Now it's time to email your customers. You need to know how to close the sale with an email campaign. Some people might buy immediately, but for others, you might have to build a relationship by sending useful emails over time. Communication made simple. You have to be a great communicator to inspire others to take action that benefits your business. First, learn how to give a great presentation. Start off by telling what problem you're going to help the audience solve. Secondly, make sure that all the subpoints in the presentation fit the overall story. These subpoints should reveal a simple plan to solve the problem and position each step of the plan as a subplot to the main story. Like in a James Bond movie, the hero has to find a deadly weapon. To do this, he has to find the villain. After that, he has to find a way into the building where the villain is. This continues until the end. A great presentation is like a Hollywood movie. You also want to foreshadow a climactic scene. Make sure that the audience sees what their lives could look like and then call to action. Lastly, you want to determine the theme of your presentation at the end of the presentation. People remember the last thing you say more than anything else, so make sure to point out what the main point of your presentation is. Sales made simple. Let's now talk about how to set up a sales system. First, you have to qualify the lead. A qualified lead meets the following criteria: they have a problem your product will solve, they can afford to buy your product, and they have the authority to buy your product. Second, you want to invite the customers into a story. This was explained previously with the hero story. I noticed that you are struggling with a problem that is causing you frustration. Our product will help you to solve the problem, as you can see from the hundreds of clients we have worked with. Let's create a plan to solve your problem. Third, you want to play the guide and know your lines. Guide your hero into the story, give them a plan, and foreshadow the climactic ending. Fourth, create a great proposal. Well, you don't have to create it, because the book provides it to you. Identify the customer's problem, then introduce the product and tell how it solves the problem, show the plan to implement the solution, then show the price and different options, and end with the climactic scene, aka the result of the resolution of the problem. After all of this, it is time to close the sale. Negotiation made simple. Trade offer. It is now time to learn how to negotiate. First, you must know the difference between collaborative and competitive negotiations. In short, collaborative means a win-win situation and competitive means a win-lose situation. The general rule here is that the competitive side will almost always win, so if you notice that the other side is being competitive, you should be too. Go below the line. Find out how to create a satisfying result for the other side at the end of the negotiation. Make the initial offer because it anchors the rest of the negotiation. If you wait for the other side to speak first, you will learn what they want. For example, a car is in sale for $25,000 and you negotiate the price down to $24,000. You feel like you won because you got the deal $1,000 off the starting price. But what if the opening offer was set to $5,000 over the lowest acceptable amount? And lastly, don't get emotionally hooked. When you are emotionally hooked, you will make poor decisions. Management made simple. A good manager knows how to create and measure processes and design a winning plan. First, you want to establish clear priorities that are measurable, profitable, and scalable. After that, you want to identify KPIs, meaning key performance indicators. These numbers tell how to challenge and grow the team and always know the score. If these KPIs are met every week, it will have a positive impact on the results. Third, create processes that increase the activity to output ratio. Ask yourself, how can we make things better? Then execute things that improve your processes. Give valuable feedback and make sure to give it early and often so the processes can improve. It is important to give feedback as early as possible, ask your team to explore what happened with you and to rewrite the scenario to know what to do next time and remind the team member that you are there for them. Lastly, a good manager is a coach, not just a cheerleader. This means that you want to give your knowledge to the team, which makes your team's impact on the organization better. Execution made simple. Congratulations, you have made it to the last chapter of the book. Now we are going to learn how to run an execution system that ensures our teams are passionate and productive. To make execution simple, you want to hold a launch meeting for new projects and initiatives. This will set a clear view of success, assign the leaders for the project, figure out resources needed for the project, and create timelines with key milestones. After that, you want to have each member of the team fill out a one-pager. This basically is one page full of important information about the project. Now it is time to hold weekly speed checks. There are 3 statements and 3 questions that you want to check. Read the success statement for the project, review the priorities of the department, and review each team member's priorities. Answer the questions. What has each team member gotten done? What is each team member going to do next? What is blocking any members from progressing? Keep score and measure your success. You need to measure your progress to be happy. If you don't know you're progressing, you will go crazy. Focus on leading measures rather than lag measures, meaning that don't focus on the results, focus on the activities that lead to results. For example, I don't check my subscribers every week, but I do make sure that I have made a new video every week. And then the most important thing, celebrate. Make sure to notice your team's wins. And that's it for the book Business Made Simple by Donald Miller. Let me know in the comments if you have any book recommendations. If you want to know more about starting businesses, you can check the videos shown on the screen. And if you want to improve yourself, make sure to hit the subscribe button for weekly book summaries and other financial videos. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next week. Bye!